Everybody's having a good morning so far. I'm going to attempt to do a shipping live. So that is going to be my attempt. I haven't done one of these in a very long time, but I'm going to show you exactly how I ship everything out. You may not be able to see the boxes necessarily or the bags, but I'll kind of show whether that's in my hand or whether that's on my phone, like what I paid for it, or not what I paid for it, what it's sold for, and what platform it's sold on. So there may not be anybody here. This could just be a potential live for a later time. But if you are interested in shipping and stuff like that, this might be a great live for you. So we need to start by actually getting more boxes, which I did. So first item that we've got going on is a pair of Meslin loafers. So those are in here, I believe. Yep. So these loafers sold for $89 plus shipping on eBay. I think I paid like $14 or $15 for them. So for anything for me over that $60 mark, it's going to get shipped in a box. So this box has seen better days. But I use this Ground Advantage box. So these are the shipping boxes that I use. They are the GA Box 2. It's a 14 by 7 by 5. And I use this to ship out all of my shoes that are more expensive than like $69. Yeah, this one has been used. All right, I'm not going to use this one because I don't want to have a return for it. I'm actually just going to recycle this. I don't know if you can see that or not. I didn't even see it. There's a large gash that I didn't create, and that's going to be an issue immediately. So ideally, we're going to do another box, which is fine because that box is terrible. But thank you guys for hopping in. I appreciate you being here. If you guys have any questions while I'm shipping, I can try and answer it between the loud two. But first item, I'll start again. The first item that I sold was, or the most recent item that I sold today was a pair of Meslin dress shoes. They sold for $89 plus shipping. So basically just using the shipping box because they need protection. I already made a video about how I package stuff, but 2 pieces of packing paper, shoes in the box. They're nice and secured, good to go. Yeah, so that one is ready to go. Obviously, I won't show the label stuff, just purely on a privacy thing. Plus, it's got my address on it too. How do you price on Poshmark compared to eBay for the same listing? They all are the same price. There's the first one done. So David, that's a great question. I price everything the same. So I use Nifty, and when I make my listing, it makes it on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, and Depop all at the same time. I don't like changing the prices based on the platform. I like having the same price for every platform. I don't do research on every platform. Oh, I sneeze. No. Just purely because of a research thing. Different prices will sell on different things. I understand that, but I don't want to go through the research and do every single item and look at every single item. I research on eBay because it's my main platform, and that's where I'm hoping it sells. If it sells on the other ones, that is amazing. But I price everything the exact same on every single thing. So hopefully that makes sense. Next item is a pair of Rothy's. So this was an interesting find purely for the reason that these are a very large women's size. So these are a women's size 12.5, which is not a size that I would pick up ever. But they also convert to a men's size 11. And I don't like picking up Rothy's all that often, purely for the reason that they don't sell very quickly and they don't sell for as much as they used to. But I think I paid like $10 for these. They sold for $55 plus shipping. And out of all of the items that I sold today, these are the only ones that didn't sell with a promoted listing. So I get all of the 55 plus minus the eBay fee, and I don't have to pay a promoted listing fee, which is nice. So happy to take that. But yeah, anything that's under 69 that's not dress shoes or really nice shoes, I will put in a box. But these go great in the bag. They're super flat, and I can just put the, oh, I put the wrong thing on here. Oops. I grabbed the wrong label for the other one. I apologize, everybody. This is rookie mistakes while I'm live. I think I'm up now. Yep. Hello from Calhoun. Happy to make a live. Faith, I appreciate you coming and making the live. Thank you so much for being here. Quick question from Isaac. How do you get most of your inventory? Most of my inventory is thrifted items. Actually, probably about 99% of my items is thrifted stuff. I will do buyouts. And like I said last night in the video last night, I would love to do more buyouts. So if people source shoes and they don't like cleaning and doing all that, but it's stuff that I would normally pick up, I would love to buy it. So, but yeah, it's the majority of the stuff is 99% of the stuff is thrifted. All right, next pair. It's a pair of On Clouds. They did not sell for as much as I normally would list them at, purely for the reason that they've been used a little bit more than when I listed them at. So these are a pair of On Clouds. Everybody knows what On Clouds are. These sold for $50 plus shipping. But for some reason, every time I put On Clouds in a bag, the buyer always complains, and it's happened like 2 times. So for the 2 times that they have complained about it, it is not something that I'm willing to repeat ever again. So that is an exception to my rule. On Clouds and Hokas, I can do Hokas in a bag, but for some reason On Clouds have never done well in a bag in terms of like reviews and people messaging me and stuff like that. So On Clouds forever go in the bag, but I just listed those, so they're not going to get their own little poly bag. The buyer won't care. I got 2 pieces of packing paper in there. That's it. Piece of scrap. Good morning from Wyoming. Good morning. Where are you guys from? There's like 13 of y'all here. Where are you guys from? Wyoming is cold probably right now. I can imagine. All right. That one's done. Next one. Are Danner snake boots a good pickup? Always. Danner's a great brand. It's a brand that I don't see very often. I would love to find more of it. But yeah, that's a great brand. Sorry. So the next 2 items are going out FedEx. So I have to purchase the 14 8x6 boxes. You can get them at Granger. I get them at Zorro. They're great boxes for shipping out FedEx because they can't have a ground advantage label on them. But these next 2 items are going to the eBay authentication hub. So they have to go in a special box. Ooh. Yeah, a lot of the shoe sections, Isaac, are pretty little, just purely based on the fact that they don't get a lot of inventory. I have to travel around a lot to find different places. I drive a lot when I am out to get stuff. Alrighty. Next item. Hello from Iowa and South Carolina. Hello, guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. All right, next pair is a pair of Hoka boots. I actually found these on a whim. I made them look really nice. But I found these just sitting behind another pair. I don't know if somebody was trying to hide them or what, but I paid $20 for them, and they sold for $79 plus shipping. And they're going to the eBay International, or not International, they're going to the authentication hub. So I didn't have to pay any fees on shipping, which was great. Buyers get charged $14.95 for those. And obviously that gets taken out of my payout for the item. But I love when they go to the authentication hub because I get a little bit less fees for that. So that is nice. So all in, the buyer was $91.56 all in with all of their shipping and sales tax and everything. And my profit was, my order earnings was $55.05. So that's including the ad fee and the transaction fee. So it's like $15 for transaction fee. That's great for me. I love that. So that is for $79. I was asking about the Danners because I picked up a pair for $5 next. Yeah, always. Yeah. Danner boots is great. Obviously, just make sure that you know the model on the size tag. it'll tell you the model because some models are worth a lot more than others. Piece of scrap says it's 12 degrees in snow. That sounds awful. Actually, I love the snow, so it doesn't really sound awful, but that sounds very cold. All right. My FedEx box is going in this box down here because that's my shipping box for later. Let's see what's up. Hello from Massachusetts. Hello. Hope you guys are doing well. If you guys have any questions while I'm doing this, I kind of go quickly so I can slow down. Next pair is a pair of Nike Air Vapor Max Pluses. They are pre-owned, but I actually found them with the box, which was cool. So the box has been pretty beat up. Obviously I put that in the listing, but somebody bought them for $99 plus shipping. I think I paid $35 for them. So that's a really good profit. I don't know exactly what the numbers are. I could look on Nifty, but turning $35 into $100 will work for me all day long. So again, like I said, this is going to the authentication hub because it's over $75, which is fine. I listed them as pre-owned, so we should have no issues with the authentication. They are real, obviously. So the problem is I don't like shipping them in these big boxes because they rattle around a lot. But kind of have to do it sometimes. But the big boxes that I use are the 16 12x6 boxes, and they're super helpful. But that is also going FedEx. And then we have a Mercari sale today. One Mercari sale. It's like my first sale on Mercari all month, which is wild. But that sale is going out UPS. So I have to stop at 2 different places today, which kind of sucks. All right, I think I'm all caught up on the chat. So we'll just keep going. Next pair that I sold was a pair of Saucony Triumphs. These were in really good condition. These sold for $59 plus shipping, and that is going to go in a bag purely just because it's the policy that I have. So it's super simple to ship these out just because they're in a poly bag. And it makes not having to make a box, because when I used to ship items out, I used to ship every single item in a box. So my piles used to be massive, and it was really frustrating because it would take forever. But these poly bags are great because they're super easy to ship, which is great for me. Next pair up is a pair of Kiziks. These are the Kizik Limas. This is not a brand that I pick up very often. They have to be in like excellent condition. It's like Allbirds for me. I don't really love picking up Allbirds unless they're like borderline perfect. Kizik is the same thing. These sold for $49 plus shipping. And they're going to Arizona, I believe. Yep, they're going to Arizona. So if you haven't watched my shipping video on how I ship shoes, basically for anything that's under $69 gets put in a poly bag just like this. It's got the eBay label on it, and then I put 2 pieces of tape to secure the sides just because shoes rattle around a lot more than clothing does. And then usually when I have these, it makes it really simple to put the label on flat. It's nice and easy to go. All right, the next one that I got is the last sale for eBay. So last one we got is a pair of these Adidas night joggers. Like I said last night, Adidas is the #2 brand for me. I sell a lot of it. I sell more than Nike, but Adidas is definitely a brand that I pick up. These were a men's size 8, so a very small size for men. But I think I only paid like $10 for them. And they sold for $44.10 on a Nifty offer, which was great. And super simple to ship out. But yeah, those night joggers can sometimes be good models. It depends on the colorways. But that's a good one to look out for. All right, so that is all for eBay done. Now we can do, what should we do next? We'll do Mercari since there's only one. All right, so a lot of brands I'll go back into and I will look and find items and models that are older that I've had listed for a while. Let me see if I can find these. There. So a lot of the Nike Metcons are not selling well for me particularly. So I lowered the price on them. I'm not into all of these with a lot of money right now, which is great. But this one sold for $33 plus shipping, and I think I paid like $12. So I make like $15 on those. A lot of people are like, "Oh, why would you pick up shoes if you're only making $15?" But $15 over 24 sales is a lot of money. I make a lot more than that usually. So this is the bottom of the barrel that my profit will be. Because a lot of the ones that we just shipped, I'm making $40, $50, $60 on in profit. But these ones I only made 15. So right now my inventory, I'm at 76. What's the number? 76.42, I think was the last number that I put on. This one's 53.32. So this, I've had this one for a couple months, and I'm happy to let it go, make $15, and just don't pick that model up again. But I need to get a different one because it's going UPS, it can't have any ground advantage on it, and it's shipping Mercari, so I just have a big basic poly bag that I use. Creekside, good morning from Virginia. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. So this is Mercari basically done. But these big poly bags look massive on these tiny women's shoes. These were at women's 7.5. So this poly bag swallows the shoe, but it doesn't have to look pretty, it just has to get there safely. And these are shipped out and ready to go. So Mercari is done. That was simple. Let's see. We'll do Depop next. I think that's the next least. Depop had 3 sales yesterday, and I have a lot of people that accepted stuff that actually didn't purchase it. So the first one that I sold was actually, let me switch these around. A pair of those army boots that I have, army/military boots that I picked up a couple of days ago. These finally started getting to list them, and they're selling actually pretty quickly. So these just sold for $50 plus shipping. These are men's size 9.5. Yeah, I'll take that all day long. Knowing the fact that I paid 10 and they're selling for 50 is great. My payout was $43.42. So I made, what's that math on that? $33. And they were listed for a day. Take that every day of the week. So with these big boots, I will take the larger boxes, so that 16 by 12 by 6 box, and just make sure they're wrapped up really well. That noise is awful. I hate that noise. All right. We'll grab the package paper. And we'll go that way. So package paper is in the box, just like that. And then I'll take the 2 pairs of boots, lay them across from each other, and then package the paper up on top of it, make sure it's flat, and then we're good to go. A lot of the times people will ask me when it's going to ship, when items are going to ship, and I tell them the next day, and they always freak out. I guess that people have negative experience with people shipping and taking forever to ship. But I have more times where people will pay quicker because I'm telling them that I'll ship out the next morning, or sometimes the same day if it's early in the morning. And people will freak out and they'll purchase. So if you're someone that has the ability to ship out same day like I do, or sometimes the next day, I have had more experience of them actually purchasing than them leaving it. So that is a word of advice, but sometimes you can convince people to purchase saying that you can ship it out next day. All right, so these are going out to Georgia. So these will get there pretty quickly, actually. So that is there. Let's see the next one. The next one is a nice pair of Jordan 3s. These are in really good condition. These sold for, what was the total on that? I can find out for you. Go to receipts. These sold for $100. So my payout was $95.65 because Depop's fees are the best out of all of them. So I literally lost like $5 to fees there. But again, like I said, it's the bigger ones, so they're gonna sell anything. Typical Depop accept but no action. Do you think that eBay acquiring Depop that they will change their fee structure, meaning the fees will transition to the seller, the buyer? Your thoughts? We talked about it last night. So when I went for, I don't remember, I guess it was August, not last year, but the year before, when I went to eBay Open to speak at eBay Open, they kind of talked about the different structures that each platform has. So they talked about Poshmark's fee structure. They talked about eBay's fee structure. They talked about all these structures. And now eBay's acquired Depop. I think that the ability that eBay has now as being the owner, I don't think that they're going to change it immediately. I don't think anything's going to change immediately. I think that eBay is purchasing Depop to get the younger generation. Sneakers, streetwear, vintage, stuff like that. That is all the younger generation, my generation, people are purchasing on there, and they're just trying to acquire it. Now, will it become eBay at some point? There's a potential for that. It could become eBay streetwear. It could become eBay Depop. I don't know. I don't know what the fee structure is going to be. I think the reason why so many people love Depop is because of the fee structure. I don't know. There's a chance that they change it over to the seller instead of the buyer. I don't know. I don't really care as long as people still buy stuff on there, and as long as the fees aren't ridiculously high. Doesn't bother me in the slightest, whichever way that it is decided to be run. I will always be for eBay. So whatever they decide to do, as long as it doesn't hurt or detriment the majority of sellers and or buyers, doesn't bother me. But that is my 2 cents on that. But that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of money that they invested into it, so I don't think they're just going to leave it. Etsy just didn't do a good job of... Oh, gosh. Sorry. Lighting. Lighting went out. That's on me. There we go. But yeah, I don't know. There's a different chance for different things for them to do stuff. I don't have a clue. I don't think anybody really has a clue unless you work at eBay on what the plan is for Depop. I'm now realizing that I forgot to put a piece of tape on the top of this. And that's why it was coming undone. All right, next one and the last one. I actually have to go this way to go get it. It is a pair of Adidas Predator Elite soccer cleats. Again, if you have followed me for any amount of time, you would know that I played college soccer. So soccer cleats is like my thing. I love it. So let me find out exactly where SKU it is. 7526. That's 7520. Perfect. 7526. You were saying Etsy didn't do a good job of what? Oh, so Etsy bought Depop. I'm not sure how long ago, but they did not do a lot of things that a lot of people were hoping that the merger would do. And there's a long list of them. But one of the best things that eBay or Depop has done is be different than the rest of all the other ones, which is basically not having seller fees. They have them, but it's in comparative to everybody else. That's why a lot of people love Depop, is because of the seller fees being so low. And Etsy, basically, I think, I could be wrong, but from what I gather about Etsy, Etsy charges for every single listing you make. So even if it doesn't sell, it still charges you the listing fee. I'm pretty sure. So I think a lot of people were worried about that, and then they were just worried about, I mean, Etsy really has nothing to do with Depop. So eBay purchasing it, I think personally, is a better move for Depop, and I think it actually is more exciting for managed payments for me, where I can make sure that when people actually send an offer, it actually is an offer that they will pay for. So I love that idea, but that is it. So these Predator Elites that I just boxed up, they sold for, I'll tell you right now, they sold for $71.53. That was on a nifty offer. And I received $68.17. So it's like $3 in fees, which is amazing. But I'll ship these out now. What are your selling fees? Good morning, Amanda. How are you? And then what are your selling fees on eBay? So eBay is different selling fees per category, I believe. For shoes, I know it's 12.8%, which is a lot. And then I promote at 9%. So their majority of the time, I'm anywhere between like 20 to or 19 to 20% fees for my item, which seems like a lot, but it's basically like Poshmark. Poshmark's 20% fees as well. So it's a give and take. I know that it's the biggest platform to sell static listings. Let me be clear before people are like, what? Not the biggest platform. It's the biggest platform for static listings. So that is why I use it. And I use all of the ability that I get it for. All right. So that is Depop done. That is Mercari done. That is eBay done. So now we have all of these Poshmark ones. I think there's like close to 10 orders. We'll see. But if you guys have questions, let me know. I still got another like 10 items to ship, so we'll get to it. Yes, Etsy charges a listing fee every 4 months. See, that's kind of wild. I get it, but that's still kind of wild. Amanda said, good, how are you? What kind of shoes are we shipping today? All types. You can roll back. We've been live for 27 minutes, 25 minutes. We've been shipping dress shoes, boots, boxes, shoes with boxes. This is like the best live because I have shown literally every single way of how I ship shoes, which has been cool. It's been nice to be able to show the different ways that I ship stuff, so that way you can see it. So this next one that we're going to do is a pair of On Clouds, another pair of On Clouds. These sold for $45. Like I said earlier in the live, I don't put these in a bag even though they're under my threshold, purely for the reason that I've had 2 people complain about it being in a bag. So I am not going to ship those in a bag. But I also just listed those. So I listed those, what would have been Tuesday. And I have not had a chance to bag them yet. So when I'm saying bag them, if you have seen any of the last 20 minutes, or if you're just now joining, the difference between these shoes that I'm shipping right now that don't have a bag, just like this, versus these, is these items get bagged and they have a custom SKU on them. These items, or these shoes, haven't even been put into the inventory system yet. So they have a number on them, so I know where they are. So they have the like SKU number like these on there, but they actually aren't put in bags and put into the inventory system yet. So we're going to put them straight in with a packing paper, like this, if the packing paper will cooperate. We'll put one piece of packing paper at the bottom. I just try and crumple it up. Sometimes it goes in better than others. And then toe to heel, just like that. Same thing on top, and that's not moving at all. That is a good question. How do they calculate their fees? That's a good question. I know nothing about Etsy. So if somebody's interested in Etsy, that is a good question. I don't know the answer to that. But that is what I've got now. So those On Clouds sold for $45 plus shipping. Again, that is a lower price than I would normally like to sell On Clouds at. I like listing them at like $59 or $69 and then taking offers, but those didn't have insoles in them. So I sold those without insoles on purpose, knowing that people would then put their own insoles in them, and they sold within a day. So I will take a $45 sale and when it's less than a day. All right, next one. Let's ship out these UFOs. So these are actually new with tags. So because of that, They sold for a lot more money than normal UFOs do. So these are the UFOs OO Mega. So you can see they've got a really thick sole. They also are new tags, and these sold for $71 plus shipping. Well, I guess Poshmark is always plus shipping, but $71 on Poshmark. So these are gonna get a bag, or these are gonna get a box, and you're gonna get treated a little bit differently than I would normally treat UFOs. Sorry, hopefully that's not super loud. I can't really change that. But are you planning on going live every week? I'm trying to go live as much as I can throughout the week. So last night we did a live for cleaning. It was late. I'm not going to really have scheduled lives because I can't process a schedule because I have different agendas on different days. So I'm going to try and go as live as much as I can. I'm going to try and do as many packing lives as I can. It's pretty simple, not as hard. I may not explain everything that I'm doing all the time, but the goal is to probably do them earlier than I am doing now. I would like to be doing my shipping lives around 7 a.m. Instead of 9. But today was a different story. So those are out the door. All right, next pair up is a pair of golf shoes, spikeless golf shoes. These sold for True Linkswear. That's the brand. These sold for, what did these sell for? $50 plus shipping. This was a good sale. These typically don't sell for that much, but they are in like new condition. I listed them as excellent, but they're in really good shape. But because they are in the $50 mark, they're gonna get a bag. I use for Poshmark, Depop, I guess those two. I use the Ground Advantage bags. I guess I should show it this way. I use the Ground Advantage bags. These are the 14 by 17 bags. These bags are massive. I wish they had like a 12 by 15 bag because I don't need all this extra room. But they're really great and they're nice and solid, and I haven't had any issues with them ripping or anything. But that is what I ship all of my Poshmark stuff that doesn't go in a box. Because for eBay, I have those special eBay that I pay for. I have those special eBay ones. My tape looks like it's about to run out, which would be very frustrating. I think I'm caught up on the comments. So if you guys have any other questions while I'm talking, great. If not, no worries. I will just keep on keeping on. We have like 6 left. 6 or 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 6 left, I think, which is great. All right, so let's do these here. So this is a pair of 511 tactical shoes. I know that there's some people that do 511 clothing. It's not a brand that I would typically pick up. This is a brand that I got for a pretty good deal. I think I paid like $7, $8 for these. And these sold for $49 plus shipping. Now, typically, I would put these in a bag because they're in the thing. But these soles are really nice. This is like what I would consider like a dress sole shoe. So I'm going to honor the buyer and protect these a little bit more than I would normally do on a pair like this, just because their soles are really solid and I don't want them to get all scuffed up. They're a nice pair of shoes. And it doesn't cost me anything because I get sent these for free. So it does not bother me in the slightest. But yeah, those sold for $49 plus shipping. I think I got paid out $39.20. I think is my payout. So not bad. Like $8 into $39 is a win for me all day long. So that's like a $30 profit. But again, like I said, a lot of the times I say like I paid $8 for them. I cost of goods average out everything. So my average cost of goods probably for that week was, actually can tell you. I'll go on Nifty real fast and I can tell you how much I paid for those. I paid $12.50 for the week. So these are $12 into $39.20. So that's $27. So that's perfect. That's exactly where I want my average profit to be. So that is great for me. And it took 99 days to sell. So slower sale, 3 months to listing, them sitting, and then somebody bought them for full price, which is great for me. So we will ship those out. New question from Mike. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Ethan, on eBay, do you refund shipping charges from the buyer when they do returns, or just the item cost minus shipping? Great question. So I do, buyer does not pay, so seller does free returns, whatever. I do free returns. So basically, if a buyer has an issue, returns it, I pay for the shipping back. So when I do the refund, they don't get their original shipping back because I took their hit on the shipping back. So it's just the item cost. But a lot of people like that, the free returns, just because they're not having to, in their brain, they're not having to send it back on their own cost, but then they're not getting their original shipping back. It's a give and a take, but that's what I do. I've found that to be the best way to do it, but like I said, some people have different things. All right, next pair is actually a pair of hunter boots. So these hunter boots actually were my wife's. So we have $0 into them. We cleaned them up. She didn't want to wear them anymore, which is great. This is why I love my job, is I sell shoes. So I knew exactly that these were going to be good. These are the hunter boot Chelsea boots. And these sold for $59. So we are into the profit, technically. I mean, not really, but if you want to get really technical, I didn't pay anything for these. We've had them, she's had them for 7 years or something. So they lasted a very long time. So we're getting $47.20 back. So that is all profit for me. So $47.20 into my pocket to go buy more shoes that I'm going to go make more money with. So those sold really quickly too. I think I listed those Tuesday and they sold last night. There we go. All right. Those are out the door. Next we have, a cool one. So these have been listed for a long time. I actually couldn't tell you why that they didn't sell. And I didn't even grab them. I need to go grab them. Where are they? 3525. Give me 2 seconds. I didn't grab them yet. So I love my inventory system. It takes me 2 seconds to go and find them. So these are New Balance Fresh Foam, and they are the mini collab. So these are not the Run Disney ones, but Minnie Mouse, I guess, has her own shoe, which is pretty cool. These sold for $46. I think I had them listed too high. When I got the offer, I think I had listed them a little bit higher than I normally would. But for $46, it took a long time for them to sell. I was into them for, how much did I pay for these? Let me scroll. Apologies. I paid $13 for them, so I'm making like $23 on these, which is not a problem for me. Happy to see them gone, but $23 in profit is a win for me. Yeah, so that is that shipment. Let me print the label and we'll package that up. You ship in what boxes? So I use the Ground Advantage box. So these are ones that you can get on the Poshmark website and or through the app. This is the GA Box 2, the 14.7x5. And then I also have the 14.8x6 boxes for anything that ships more expensive than $75. That goes to the eBay authentication one, or it goes to like a Mercari or something like that where I have to ship it UPS or FedEx. And then I have the big boxes, which are 16x12x6 boxes. So those are the ones I use. And then the poly bags. All right, next one. The new USPS supplies are great. I love them and the mailers. I do too. I wish that they made smaller mailers. So these are the 17x14s. I wish they made like 12x16s, just for shoes. These bags are massive for them. I actually might be able to put this in a padded one, this next one. So I don't use this padded flat rate mailer. Well, it's not flat rate. I shouldn't say the flat rate. The padded shipping envelope. I don't use this one very often. I have them just in case. But Rothy's fit really well into these. So these sold for $40. It's not, this is from a buyout. So I bought somebody's store out. So I was into these for like $11. It's not a brand that I would typically pick up right now. They don't sell for a ton of money, and they take a very long time to sell. So I picked these up in December, and they sold for $40. So Poshmark's fee is 20%. So I made $32 on them. So I made $21 on them. Definitely can't complain about it. And my tape ran out. That's unfortunate. I'm gonna have to go get a new thing. Roll tape. But yeah, they sold for $40 on Poshmark. And yeah, can't complain about it, but not a brand that I would seriously, like, if you see it every single time, I wouldn't pick it up every time. Just be careful on the price. If it's priced okay, not a bad brand to pick up. Just won't sell very quickly. All right, let me get this tape situation figured out. Back to normality. All right, let's print it out. But yeah, I don't use these shipping envelopes very much just because these are very small. So this is a 12.5 by 9.5. So smaller women's flats that sell for under $60, they'll go in there just purely on a protection basis. These are actually really nice for protecting the shoe, but not a lot of shoes fit in them. You can use ground advantage boxes for eBay. I have used them. I've never had an issue with them. I know that might be slanderous, but I've never had an issue. It's like it doesn't. So on the box, I asked when I ordered it over the phone, and they said, yeah, as long as it's a ground advantage, I don't want to get anybody in trouble. So don't take this as gospel. This is just what I do. And maybe I'm wrong for it, but it doesn't have any Poshmark labels on it. You have to have a Poshmark store in order to order them, but it's just a ground advantage. It's the post office ground advantage box. So it doesn't say anything about you cannot use it. You can only use it for something. I don't know. You have a storage or personal garage for inventory and processing. This is, you are looking at it. So I can kind of do a tour, but basically anything this way is all my garage. So I've got 1,500 pairs of shoes in here that are all my active listings. And all of this stuff is stuff that's needing to go into the inventory system, which starts over there. So, yeah, this is in my garage. I'm in a 2-car garage. I have all these listings sitting in here. So it's great for me, but it's also one of those things where a lot of people can't do that just due to space. So we have 2 more listings left, and both of them are going in boxes. This is the 3rd pair of On Clouds today, which is nice. I listed all of these on the same day. I think I listed like 6 pairs of On Clouds on the same day, and 3 of them have already sold. Like I said earlier, this is a brand that I do not put in bags, just purely for a reason I have said prior. But these sold for $50 plus shipping on Poshmark. I'll get these shipped out in the box the same way that I've done all the other ones. Pre-ball the next one up. If you guys have any last-second questions, there's 16 of you. I really appreciate you being here. Any last-second questions before I ship out this last item, please ask it below. I can sit around and talk for as long as you want me to. Otherwise, I'll just talk to myself. But yeah, so these sold for $50. My payout was $40. I think I paid $14 for them, so I'm making $26 on that, which is great for me. They sold within a day, or just over 24 hours, so I will take that. And the last one is actually a really good sale. These are the Jordan 1 Dark Mochas. These are not the Travis Scott ones, I wish. But these are in really good shape, like really, really, really good shape. And they sold, because they were a smaller men's size, I converted them to women's. So they're women's 8.5, men's size 7. And they sold for $79 plus a shipping on Poshmark. So my payout was $63.20, which is great. So I can actually check on Nifty. Let's see. What does Nifty say how much money I made on those? I made $48.57 in profit. So that is a win in my book. I think I paid $14.63 with my buy cost for these. That is a win. And that is the last item that I have to ship. How many shoes? Great question. What is your best? Oh, wow. Okay. We got a bunch. I appreciate it. All right. So we'll start from the beginning. Where wouldn't the heat in your garage damage the shoes? So I haven't had an issue with that. Typically, the stuff that sits for a while, there's definitely a chance of that. But every week, I move my inventory around, so it's not just sitting in the same spot every single time. In the summer, I don't know if you can see this. I run this fan. It's not very big, but it moves air around. So that way it's not desperately hot in here. At some point, I would like to invest in like a mini split and or a cooling station in here. So that way it can be a little bit more cool, but I haven't had an issue with it. Also, I think packaging the shoes in these bags helps keep the items safe and secured. Let me try to put that in the right spot. So that way they're not getting heat damage. What is your best seller? My best seller is Nike, always. How many shoes do you list a day? So I list 20 pairs of shoes a day. I guess you can look at me now. I list 20 pairs of shoes a day. I sell anywhere from 16 to 17 pairs of shoes a day. So I'm basically upping 3. There's some days where I sell more. Like today, we sold 24 items today, which was awesome. And then there's some days where you sell less, but my average is around 17. I actually just sold another pair of shoes. Cool. Did you get the refund for the Heinekens? Not yet. Not that I'm aware of. I will check my account right now. Let's see if they have sent it back. They told me that it could be next week, which is frustrating because I'd like for that to be now. But they told me next week. So I have not received it yet. Do you use a light box for pictures? I do. I can't. The problem that I have is I would love to do a live where I'm showing you how I take photos. There is literally zero way for me to show you how to do that where I'm not blocking the light box. But I do use a light box. I'm interested in picking up shoes at estate sales and garage sales. How do you test for dry rot? The best way to test for dry rot and the best way to test for mold, mildew, buildup, stuff like that is it's the twist test. I can show you. So this is a really good sale, or will be a good sale when it sells. But you take your right hand, you put it on the top of the toe box, put your left hand on the top, and then you twist. So if they twist and they've got a big old crack, they'll have cracks either in your hand or it'll crack in the midsole like that. And you'll be able to tell whether or not they have dry rot from that. Sometimes you also can tell if you look on the inside of the shoe, the leather will have dry rot on the round and the inside of it. So that's the best way to tell. Good morning. I am about to be done, but it's good morning. Thank you for being here. Make sure if you guys are on YouTube, please subscribe. So that way, when you see that I go live, I'm going to try and start posting some of the videos that I post on Facebook over to YouTube. So that way we can build a little bit of a following over there. But I'm going to start doing lives more often. How do you keep track of so much? How do you keep track of how much you spend on shoes? Do you keep all the receipts for tax purposes? I do. So in my spreadsheet that I made, I have a cost of goods section, which has been really helpful. I'm going to pull that up so that way you can see it. So I have created like an inventory / cost of goods system. I don't know if you can see that, where every single week has a breakdown. And if you go, like if you click, so like this week, my week has, so like this week, my cost of goods was really expensive. Well, I say really expensive. It's $15.36. I got some good stuff, but I still felt like I spent a lot. So $15.36. And then it shows the breakdown. I don't know if you can see that at the bottom without the thing, but it shows the like how much I paid at each store. So that's the receipt purchases versus the amount of shoes were in the thing, and that creates your cost of goods. But that's how I keep my track of stuff. When I lived in South Florida, I kept the fan going 24/7 for circulation. Yep, I mean that's definitely what you have to do in the winter months. it's not so bad. I say winter months, like the months that aren't super warm, I don't have to do that in here because I redid this whole garage. So I got a new door, I got new floors, I got new like walls. I did everything in here to make it as nice as possible. So when it's cold, it keeps the cold in here. So it hasn't been cold for a couple weeks, but it's still cold in here because I don't let air get out. So it's still cold in here. When it gets hot in here. So that's when I put the fan on, and that's helpful to a point. It still gets very hot in here, though. All right, last question is from Mike again. How many total do you have listed currently? That's a good question. I think it's around, go to Nifty. I can tell you that right now. Nifty tells me that right now in inventory, I have 1,450 listings to the T. So yeah, it's the most amount of inventory I've ever had. I loved when I was first starting, I loved being under 1,000 because I felt like I could manage it. Now I want to grow it as big as I can, obviously making as much money as I can, but also being responsible with how much I'm spending. But I would love to be in the 2,000 range. I just don't know if this garage can hold 2,000 pairs of shoes. That's what I'd love to get to. I think that's it. Is it worth having a store in Mercari, Poshmark, and eBay? I think it is. I think it's worth cross-listing. I have an eBay store. I have the eBay listings. I have the Poshmark. I have Depop. I have Mercari. Shannon, if you are interested in that, later this week, I think tomorrow, my plan is tomorrow, I'm going to do a listing live. I'm a little scared about that, so you might have to bear with me. But I'm going to do a listing live from Nifty, showing you exactly how I list every single day. And that's going to literally everything. So that is the plan. The plan is tomorrow, probably in the afternoon at some point, is to do a listing live where you can see exactly how I list and what I price stuff at and everything like that. That's the plan. So I know you did Whatnot at a point. Did you not like it? What are your thoughts? Okay, so that's going to be the last question. I don't dislike it. My big thing for Whatnot that was very frustrating was I was having to manually add my listings, and I want to be able to sit with all of this behind me. So obviously I might be able to take you around a little bit, but this is all unlisted inventory, or not unlisted. This is all listed inventory that hasn't been put into the inventory section over here. Basically, if you can see that, there's a big old pile right there of stuff that I picked up yesterday. But this inventory system, I loved being in this section, and I could go to buy it now, and I go, hey, obviously the prices on there, they're going to be expensive because it's my stick it and list it prices, send me an offer. And I would make sales that is items that are cleaned and stuff like that, and I can make bundle sales and stuff like that. But then I would have to manually go and delist every single one of those items, which was really frustrating. As soon as Nifty adds Whatnot, I will get back onto it. I have no doubt in my mind that I want to do that. But I'm not manually delisting all of that stuff. It doesn't work like that. And I want to have the items there. As soon as they sell, they get delisted from all the other platforms. That's my plan. So I think Whatnot's great. I think it's an avenue that I want to get back into, but I'm waiting for Nifty to get back into it. So for the 15 of y'all that are still in here, whether that's however many on each platform, I really appreciate you being here. Thank you for coming to the shipping live. I will try and do as many of the lives as possible throughout the week. Tomorrow, like I said, the plan is to do a listing live. We will see how actually that comes to fruition, if I can do it. But yeah, that's the plan. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hopefully you had a little bit of fun. I think I can tell you my grand total. I know that, like, so when Wayne makes his videos, he shows like how much money he made for the day and stuff like that. So I can tell you how much we sold yesterday in terms of profit and the amount of shoes and all that. So we did, I listed 25 items because I did relist. So technically 20 items listed. I had 20 items sold, and my sell through was 76%, which was awesome. And then the total revenue was $1,161. My total profit was $566.43. So that's it for today. I thank you guys so much for coming. I appreciate you guys hanging out.